Hey there. Didn't see you there. I'm just reading my copy of the Federalist Papers. In this lecture today, we're going to talk about the Federalist versus Anti-Federalist. This is the fight for the ratification of the Constitution. 1788, the Congress of the Articles of Confederation, give the green light to send the Constitution out to the states for ratification. They'll make their ratifying conventions, which is stated in the Constitution, and everyone knows you only need 9 of 13 states to ratify it. Although you kind of want all the states to ratify it because you're becoming a United States. That would be important. But we only need 9 of 13. Thank you, Rhode Island. We don't need you. Okay? We're going to move. The Federalist versus the Anti-Federalist will be the two sides of this argument that we're going to look at. Now, from the get-go, the Federalists had the upper hand. The Federalists were the people who were actually at the Constitutional Convention. And so they knew what they had written. They knew the arguments for. They also knew the arguments against and how to counter those arguments. They also had a very organized plan to get this passed. Okay, you have guys like George Washington, Benjamin Franklin. You have James Madison, Alexander Hamilton. Okay, all behind this. And that's important, is how organized they are. Also their name, the Federalist. And by using the Federalist, they're giving the impression that they're okay with a loosely decentralized government. However, that's not what's happening with the Constitution. We are centralizing power, but they want to give the impression that they're not changing things too much. And so it's important to know the name, the Federalist, bringing states together, okay, in a loose confederation. They will come together. Now, they want to get this thing ratified, and so they are going to bring their arguments to the newspapers, which will be seen as the Federalist Papers, justifying why the Constitution should be passed. On the other side of this argument, we had the Anti-Federalist. Basically, the connotation of this name comes from the Federalists, saying that, hey, these people don't have a solution, they don't have an argument, they just want to get rid or oppose the Constitution. And they don't have a solution to the problems of the Articles of Confederation. This group was very disorganized. They had numerous different reasons for why they didn't want to be a part of the Constitution. It would weaken the power of the states. It would give more power to the wealthy. It would give taxes. And so all these reasons are going to come up. These are the revolutionary figures such as Patrick Henry, Sam Adams, John Winthrop, John Hancock, okay? All these people are against the Constitution because it will take things away, but they are not organized, which is going to hurt them greatly. But maybe the biggest reason for them to being on the other side of this is that in the Constitution, there was nothing to protect individual rights. Now, an argument that the Federalists make is the Constitution protects individual rights. But what the Anti-Federalists was looking was a Bill of Rights. Most states at this time had a Bill of Rights. It's protecting those individual freedoms from the government because, remember, we fought a revolution to protect our freedoms from a government. And so this was really, really important to them. And they can almost hinge their entire argument on this, right? They are for the common people. The common person is equal to those who are wealthy. They want a fair shot. It's a land of opportunity. Let's give it to them, okay, by protecting it through the Bill of Rights. Now, this would be a great time to pause this video, take a look at this, right? So we have our leaders. Again, leaders of the Federalists were the ones who were actually at the Constitutional Convention, which gives them an upper hand, which makes them very organized, educated on what the Constitution is trying to do. Okay, they are arguing that they need a stronger central government to preserve the Union. As we see, Shays' Rebellion and all the other problems we had with the Articles of Confederation isn't getting us done. However, one of the big problems was that this was new. No one had done this before. These ideas were very foreign to people. And so they really, with the Federalist Papers, have to justify and rationalize why the Constitution says what it does. Okay, again, strong leaders, well organized. On the other side of this coin, you have those revolutionary figures who feel that this is going to take away from what they fought for in the revolution. And they're going to limit democracy, and basically it's going to give the same power or more power the Constitution is to the central government than Britain ever had. However, they're very slow to respond. The rebuttals of the Federalist Papers aren't even carried in many newspapers, and they're very disorganized. They don't have a central message. Their advantage is they appeal to the common man. But that's also a disadvantage because the common man isn't going to be highly represented in these conventions throughout the states. Now, a key part of this battle is the Federalist Papers. It's going to be basically the justification for the Constitution. If you go into politics and you're looking at the Constitution, you need to hit these papers up. Okay, such as Federalist Paper number 10, written by James Madison. It's talking about how factions, there can be. People are naturally going to get into groups, but this government keeps any one faction from gaining too much power. And now I'm going to give it up to Hamilton, the musical, to tell you a little bit more about the Federalist Papers in the song Non-Stop.
Alexander joins forces with James Madison and John Jay to write a series of essays defending the new United States Constitution entitled the Federalist Papers. The plan was to write a total of 25 essays, the work divided evenly among the three men. In the end, they wrote 85 essays in the span of 6 months. John Jay got sick after writing 5. James Madison wrote 29. Hamilton wrote the other 51. How do you write like you're running out of time? Write day and night like you're running out of time.
Okay, so they're going to write all these papers. They're going to hit newspapers. They are carried in newspapers more than the Anti-Federalist Papers, and it's going to make a strong argument for this. Okay, remember, for ratification to happen, they only needed 9 of 13 states. This is different than what the Articles of Confederation wanted. So you can say we're illegally breaking the law by creating a new law. But that's not the point. Okay, so when ratification happens, you need 9 states. And so bam, 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 in 1787, you're going to get a bunch in a row. You can see they're kind of close from this graph. The winner, you get most, and then it slows down quite a bit. New Hampshire is going to be the 9th. Now you have it, but 2 of the most populous states have not said yes, Virginia and New York. And so when those 2 states say yes, it is going to be on the condition and the assumption that a Bill of Rights will be added to the Constitution once there is ratification. Okay? Hamilton not so happy about this. James Madison wrote about it. I think that was Hamilton that wrote about it. Said, "Hey, we don't need the Bill of Rights." But James Madison will slowly come around to it, realizing that it will get important people behind the Constitution. And you get North Carolina that will come in later, and then Rhode Island, of course, being last. Okay, they had a couple cities that would say they were going to bounce out if they didn't ratify. Now, if you look at these votes are very close in a lot of these states. And so this wasn't a thing that was just easy peasy lemon squeezy. It was very contested. But here's the most important thing at the end, and I want to read you a quote from an Anti-Federalist. This Anti-Federalist, after this was passed, said he had opposed the adoption of this Constitution, but that he had been overruled by a majority of wise and understanding men, and that now he showed endeavor to sow the seeds of union and peace among the people he represented. Okay, so someone who was an Anti-Federalist who had voted against the Constitution, once it was passed, realizes that the people had spoken, the country of the United States of America had ratified the Constitution, and now it was his job to get behind it. Something we could learn today. Adios.